I'd really like to welcome you tonight. My name is Catherine Murray. I'm with the School of Communication at Simon Fraser University, and I'm also co-director of the Spry Foundation Memorial Lecture Series. It's a unique institution. I'd like to take a few minutes today to just explain a little bit about how this operates and introduce our very wonderful speaker for this evening. For tonight, the format is going to be roughly as follows. We'll begin with a few introductory remarks. Then Professor Graham Murdock will speak for approximately 50 minutes on, as you can see, building the digital commons, which is an enterprise facing us all. And we will then welcome questions and answers at the end of that period. I'd like to tell you that tonight will be taped, and it will be available on the School of Communications website probably within a week. So it'll be available for reference and so on. And there will also be a text version of the talk, and it's possible to compare tonight's talk with some of the others that we've had in the past, also on the website, at this time at the University of Montreal. So, without too much more ado on the logistics, I'd like to point out that tonight is the 9th annual lecture for the Graham Spry Fund for Public Broadcasting, and remind us, although you're probably well aware of it, that Graham Spry was one of the co-founders of the Canadian Radio League in the 1930s, which was really a citizens' coalition, very broadly based, involving members of the Canadian clubs, women's clubs, agricultural groups, educators, from a very wide cross-section of Canadian society. And this citizens' coalition succeeded in the day of persuading largely conservative legislators under Prime Minister Robert Borden of the time to create what has since become the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Graham Spry really worked all his life lobbying for what he saw as the citizens' need for an independent public sphere of communication. And he was constantly a technological opportunist, keen for social groups and citizens to seize the benefits of a new technology while preserving its community character and closing gaps in cultural literacies and life chances. Remember that Graham Spry was one of Canada's first social Fabians, although he found it prudent politically later to distance himself from that label. But he was active in the League of Social Reconstruction, agitated for universal health care policy in this country, and unceasing in his conviction, really, that all Canadian peoples, regardless of education, class, or social background, should be able to enjoy the benefits of public broadcasting. I think in his era, the idea of public-private partnerships, such a convenient catchword in today's provincial scene and federally as well, the idea of public-private partnerships to develop a new technological frontier like the internet was really an anathema. And Graham Spry was one of the most forceful of public lobbyists to argue that any unthinking adoption of a new technology in Canada would really lead all citizens to have to rethink the choice between the state and the United States, something that was a very radical rallying cry at the time, and in view of the unfortunate demise of Carolyn Parrish, perhaps something that she might remember to refer to more elegantly in the future. In any case, it's also likely that in Graham's era, the rapid diffusion of the internet, as well as its rapid commercialization, would simply not have been as well understood at the time without a central role for citizens and public broadcasting through the state. But today we find this internet celebrated as a kind of cornucopia of commercial choice, and as Graham will talk about, very many are sounding the death knell for both the public regulator in Canada, the CRTC, the Canadian Radio, Television and Telecommunications Commissioner, and of course the public broadcasters, BBC, CBC, and so on around the world. I think Graham Spry would be disturbed about the absence of a broad-based social movement challenging these developments, and he would be very disturbed by the absolute silence about these issues among the major federal parties in the last federal election. So to foster public debate, his family set up the Endowment for the Spry Foundation in partnership with Simon Fraser University School of Communication and the University of Montreal, led by Professor Marc Ravoy there, which created the Memorial Lecture Series. And I want to refer you once again to the website for past archives of talks, which are very useful in our current times. I particularly would like to thank the Office of the President of Simon Fraser University, Mr. Michael Stevenson, the Dean of the Faculty of Applied Sciences, Mr. Brian Lewis, the School of Communication, Professor Martin Lava, who is here this evening, and particularly Denise Zenner and Sue Jameson McLaren. I know Sue is here and has been working to make this event publicly known and widely known throughout the community for tonight. We are very proud to bring you tonight Professor Graham Murdock of the University of what is it? Loughborough. I'm close, Loughborough. He says it so much more melodiously, in the United Kingdom, to speak about the challenges of building a digital commons. No one is probably better suited to talk on the issue. Professor Murdock has gained almost legendary status among those studying the political economy of communication in Canada and those interested in social consequences. And what is also interesting about the work he does is that he constantly seeks stronger links between citizens, policymakers, and academics in studying complex communication phenomena. Professor Murdock is a reader in the sociology of culture at Loughborough University. I'm close. And before moving there, he worked at Leicester, where he was a leading member of the Pioneering Center for Mass Communication Research. He has been a visiting professor at the University of California at San Diego, the Free University of Brussels, Bergen University, and Stockholm University. He's written widely on the social and cultural organization of mass media, but is best known for his work on the political economy of communication and the future of broadcasting. He is a former head of the political economy section of the International Association of Communication Research, and his work has been translated into 14 languages. Indeed, he is now studying Mandarin for a wider distribution throughout China. He is currently researching the social impact of new communication technologies and the relations between broadcasting and the internet. And it is about the latter that he will be talking tonight. Please welcome Professor Murdock. Thank you.